Hi, Julia Watts here again. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and we're continuing with our stencil techniques. So I thought it might be nice to revisit the technique that I shared with you yesterday, which gave us this result on black card, mixing Gilding Flakes with the texture medium from the Flawless Media range at Sentimentally Yours. And I know that not all of you like black card. I really love black card. I think it gives a real wow. But I thought we would do it with a different stencil and do it on white card, and then you can decide which you prefer, because it will look totally different. So as I said, we're going texture medium again from Flawless Media, and you will, at Sentimentally Yours, you will find everything I'm using, well, nearly everything. I'll tell you what you can't find in a minute, at juliawattscrafts.co.uk. So you can find the texture medium on there and the Gilding Flakes. So we're using my favourite Cosmic Shimmer Copper Teal Gilding Flakes. So I love the mix of colours in that. But the stencil that we're using, I don't actually have in stock, but I've checked over at Honeypot Crafts and they do have it. This one's called Wired Up. And I do like, for this technique, I do like an open stencil, because the flakes can't, like these small areas here, that we'll be lucky to get any flakes in the tiny areas, but we'll be able to see the flakes in the larger areas. That's why I've chosen this stencil as opposed to some of the new stencils that have just been released. Anywho, let's get some texture medium onto our craft sheet. Now it is quite an open stencil, so we will put a good amount on there. And remember, always wipe around the lid, around the rim, before you put the lid on, so that you can get the lid off next time. It's always handy being able to get into your texture medium. Then we're going to go into our Gilding Flakes. Don't breathe, don't sneeze, don't do anything. And we want smallish flakes. I mean, look at that, that's so pretty. You can see the lines on that, so pretty. But we need to break that up. We don't want big bits, because otherwise we won't see them in the stencil. There's a big bit of copper here. We don't want that big bit. Let's break some of these bits up. And we mix them into our... It doesn't matter if there are one or two big bits. We do want to try and have them as small as we can. The dust that you get, you know, when you've used the Rub It Scrub It, the dust is really good for this technique, because obviously it's really tiny. And remember that wherever you don't have flake, it's going to be clear and glossy. So you will have something there, you just won't have any colour there. Let's go for a bit more gold. I'm getting loads of the teal out, and I won't have any teal left when I use a different project. And just break those little bits up. Oh, that's a big bit. Can't have that. Okay, let's see where we're at now. I'll put the lid on for now, just in case I sneeze or breathe or laugh. Don't worry about all these bits, because these will get all incorporated when we put the wet stuff on top. Be careful when you mix it until the flakes are actually bonded, because they will go everywhere. I think I do want a few more in there. Let's grab a few more. Take your time. The more you take your time, the more mindful it becomes. And craft is quite a mindful thing. It's really good for you, especially when you lose yourself in techniques, because they're great mojo busters. And of course, if you've got loads of backgrounds, you've got the start of a card, haven't you? Which is fabulous. Or a journal page, or you can put them onto canvases, you can frame them and put them on your wall. They look these backgrounds look fabulous framed and popped on your art room wall for a reminder. Or you can just pop them in a journal with some notes underneath as to what you've done, and the next time you're lost as to what to do, you can just look in your journal or your scrapbook or whatever you've put them into, and you've got a bit of a prompt. Okay, I think that'll do now. Got some bits around the edges. goes such a long way. It's such good value, Gilding Flakes. Okay, has that bit in there. I've got little bits down here as well, but picking them up means that I lose texture medium, so it's like a no-win situation. Okay, now I'm not going to use the woodware spreader for this, as with the one yesterday, because I think it will just scrape the flake off. So we're just going to try not to get underneath the stencil. It amazes me how much thicker it tends to go when you've got flakes mixed into it. I thought I had enough, but we'll see, we'll see. It's no biggie if it's not big enough, because then if you want to use it as a background, you can just pop a circle frame around it, or a rectangular frame, or one of the new chic label frames around it, so you don't always have to go big and square. So don't forget that the texture medium goes on white, but it will dry clear and glossy. We've got a good amount of flake on there. I'm very happy with the amount of flake we've got. I think we have covered it. Isn't it amazing? You end up covering all of it. Okay, I think we're good there. I'm not too worried if I'm not perfect. Oh, don't want to go underneath. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. Let's peel that off now. Poke it up. Grab it. Obviously you can't reuse that tape, unfortunately. But it's worth it for the background. They will never be the same twice, because you're never going to get the flake in the same place twice. I tell you what you could do. Should we do a variation? No, we'll do a variation in another video. I've just had another idea. But we'll do that in another video. We do keep this one the same as what we did with the black one, so you can see a direct comparison. Now you will see that some of the flakes are sticking to the stencil, and some of them are a little bit raised, so we can push that back in again if you want to. That's where it's a bit bigger. So you don't want to press in too much, because you're going to change the shape of your stencil. But we're going to put that aside and leave that to dry, because remember, it dries clear and glossy. Let's just put that to one side for now. Then we're going to bring in another piece of card, try and get it in the gap, and we're going to pop our stencil back down on there like so. And we're going to bring in our stencil brush, just like I did with the black card, and we're going to do those circular motions. I'm going to pick up that as well, because I can. Circular motions to drag it off the edges of the stencil design and get it on there. This is where the flakes become more like dust, because the stencil brush breaks them up a little bit. There's a little bit of the texture medium, not much, there's a little bit of the texture medium left on the stencil, so we will get a little bit of glossiness. It won't be probably as wow as it was on the black card, but you know, I'll bring in, when I show you this dry and the other one dry, I'll bring in the black one so you can get a complete side-by-side comparison. Obviously we've got different stencils here. I'm really working that in now so we can get a bit of colour. Yeah, we've got different stencils, so you'll have a different stencil design to look at, but you know, effectively it's the same thing. Okay, I think that's done to death. Obviously you wash everything underwater, under the tap, and dry it off, but that's our bonus. You know, don't forget you can die cut these, so even if you don't like it very much, you can die cut it and you can mist over as well to get a bit of texture. You can do loads of different things. So I hope you enjoyed that, and we will be back and I'll show you what it's like when it's dry. So my background is dry now. The card is still a little bit damp, but the actual texture paste is dry. So if I give it a wiggle, you can see it's lovely and glossy, and it's kind of see-through. It is dry. And what happens, and this is why I wanted to show you on white card, is that I don't know if you can see actually on some of it. It's very hard to capture it on the camera. Some of the flakes have kind of wicked out a little bit, and so you've got a little bit of kind of like a patina colour coming out of some of them, which is, I think, is quite interesting. Obviously you can't see that on the black card. So there's your background on white card. Don't forget, you put a frame around it, pop a sentiment and perhaps some flowers, and you've got a really stunning piece. And then this is obviously the one that I did, which is the waist, which is really lovely. You can still see the shape of the stencil on that. And just to kind of bring you back to how it looked on the black card in the video that I showed you yesterday, this is the fairy bubble stencil, and this is the same technique on the black card. So you've got it black and you've got it white. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Don't forget, you'll find everything over on my website, juliawattscrafts.co.uk. Do like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and leave me a comment on the videos if you're enjoying them. Hopefully they're useful, and do watch out for some more. Thank you for watching.